four-time sprint champion.
Yes.
It's been a hectic hour or so, yeah, it's start of tier 2, mate. It's we're back. APPF1 is back.
Yeah, we're back, well underway. Tier 2 kicking us all off for all of our racing action here on APPF1 for the actual start of the actual season. And it's the first round of our 5th season in APPF1 Tier 2. Yes, it has been that long, and I cannot wait to see what this season will have in store. We'll begin quite fittingly in Bahrain to race around the Bahrain International Circuit. 5.412 kilometers see us on a lap around the deserts of Sakir. 15 corners, 9 to the right and 6 to the left make up the circuit that is fast, flowing and suitably challenging. Drivers will need to be careful getting the power down through turns 2 and 3 and be sure to avoid major lockups in the braking zone on turn 9 and 10. This track has been one of my favourites in previous games. Any thoughts about tonight's venue, Ghost?
It's a deceptively difficult track, I feel, especially around sort of the turn 10 area. It can be very tricky, but I think it's difficult to get perfect. That's the main thing. There are a few corners where you can lose so much time from tiny errors. So I think the main thing for our drivers today will be to see how many or few errors that they make in this first race of the season, where it's crucial to get some points on the board.
Yeah, certainly so. And with a new season, and it's another chance for our drivers to take a shot at becoming the Tier 2 champion. We got to see some of our drivers in action during pre-season at Japan and France, but tonight the gloves are off and it's time to start racing for points. 12 rounds in this season mean that there will be plenty of chances to score big, but only one driver and one team may come out on top. Any insights to our lineup this season, Ghost, as we've got a big spin of tier as he's come through the first couple of corners?
Yeah, I think there's a few drivers to watch. I think a key thing to mention is that Lawrence D and Sir Swindu have been sort of gently nerfed for Tier 2 since they are definitely Tier 1 pace, but we've had to, because they can't do Fridays, and we don't want to kick them out of Tier 2, we've said that they can race if they turn off an assist, and we've gone with Racing Line, and we'll see how that goes for them today. Hopefully they do alright, and hopefully they don't, have too depressing a time. But I think they'll be okay. They'll get better as the race goes on, at least in my experience without the line.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they'll eventually adapt and find out places where they can find those braking points by themselves. It's difficult to adjust to the line. It's probably one of the hardest to adjust to if you've been racing with the comfort blanket that is the racing line for a long time. So it'd be nice to see how they adjust, and then maybe they can, if their schedules free up, they can move over to Tier 1 and race a little bit with the guys over there on a Friday. Anyway, tonight's action is brought to you once again by Positive Perception Media Design Products. If you love seeing cool livery designs, please head over to their socials and catch a glimpse of some truly awesome designs. These guys are livery designers who have a passion for motorsport, and over on their YouTube they do tend to stream some cool races as well, so please do go and check them out over there and give them all the love and support that you show us here. Speaking of love and support, if you've not done so already, please make sure you leave a like on the stream. There are 4 of you who have not done so out of the 7 watching thus far. And please make sure, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. We're 2 subscribers away from finally reaching that 100 goal, and it would be very cool to reach it. Yes, it is a new headset. Rick, I'm assuming you asking means it sounds pretty good. As Swindu is the first to set a time around the track. It's a 1 minute 30.8. That's a decent time without a racing line for the AlphaTauri driver. Here comes G Jacko, not the Jackalacko, but another Jacko in the league, and that's a 36.2. Not the best that time from the Haas driver, as the Cello is coming into the pits as he's validated his lap time.
Yeah, I think given that Sir Swindu said before this race that he would that his fastest time, I think he said in practice, was a 30.9. He's just beaten that, so clearly he's making progress, and Lawrence just around 2/10 behind him as well. So, you know, as I said to them, the more practice they get, the better they will be, and the more comfortable they'll become as the race goes on. So I'm looking forward to see how they progress, not just in this qualifying session, but along the race and along the season as a whole.
Yeah, certainly. So Mahiti has posted the fastest time of the session so far. It's a 1:29.6 for the Ferrari driver. He posted an incredible season last time out and was looking in the hunt for the championship. And I think Ferrari could be some strong contenders this season.
Absolutely, Muhiti and Pomi-Alex is a very strong lineup. I think Spartan and Crozer could be a good challenge to them as well. We've got the Alfa Romeo pair could be decent as well, although Saloka is the only one here today. Crozer goes into P2, by the way, in the Red Bull, a 30.1, about half a second off of Muhiti, who I believe, my prediction for this season, Sumo, we haven't really done predictions yet, but
no, we'll get to that.
I think Drivers' Champion this season is going to be Muhiti _11.
Oh, that is a decent prediction for certain, and could come true. But we'll get to predictions a little bit later on. As we follow along with the qualifying action. Hello, Veda. Stream lag. How so?
Seems okay to me, and I've got it on my screen, so...
Yeah, it looks fine to me as well.
Could be on your end, I'm afraid, with that. But good to have you in the chat. Welcome.
Let's have a look. Where else we got out on a lap? I think Fido Man is out on a lap at the minute. He's invalidated, in fact, so that won't be a lap for him. Well, the Aston Martin pairing, they're out. We've got a couple of old guard here from APPF1. Tier, a permanent driver here in Tier 2, but Scott, a reserve, coming in and racing for the Aston Martin outfit this evening. We'll eagerly watch as he makes his way into the second sector.
Absolutely. Scott's been much more on the pace in this game. Once he turned the line off in F1 2021, he really dropped off the pace quite a lot. But he's been a lot better on this game, so I'm looking forward to see how he squares up with Tier 2 today. We've got Tier as well, who's been really struggling on this new game in comparison.
As you say that, he goes for a spin.
Just as I say it. So sorry, Tier, for that one. But yeah, he's not had a good time on this new game so far. So hopefully he gets more comfortable as the season goes on.
Yeah, certainly. So it's nice to see that we haven't lost our magic touch in the commentary box when it comes to drivers spinning at the exact wrong moment. 13 people in the stream right now, only 5 of you have liked, 14 according to YouTube. So please do make sure you've left a like on the stream. It really does help me out, and I really do appreciate all the support. Scott up there in the 1 minute 30.1s. That's a great time from the Aston Martin.
Yeah, there we go. So there's your answer. How will he square up in Tier 2? He'll be near the top. So good to see him right up there. I'm sure he'll be happy to be in the top 3 as well. He's only 0.003 of a second off of Crozer's time, as Fido Man is going to be next across the line in the Alpine, just for coming up to the final corner.
Yeah, Fido Man, one of our newcomers here at APPF1. I think Cello Kurt is his first time actually racing with us. He's been with us for a little while, but he didn't start midway through the season. That's a 1 minute 30.5 from Fido Man in the Alpine. That's a decent lap from the newcomer. I think Sir Swindu is new to Tier 2 as well, new to the community. G Jacko definitely new, and will eagerly await his pace as the season progresses thus far. Pomi-Alex coming out on for another lap. I can't have a favourite driver as a commentator, but if I did have a favourite driver, it would be Pomi-Alex.
The people's champion, the Australian, very long-standing member of the community. We all love to see him do well, but I wonder if he'll return to his natural habitat of P5 today.
Well, little insight from the Discord earlier. Polly Alex said he's not that quick around this circuit, so he might struggle, and perhaps we might see an inter-team battle between the two Ferraris this season.
Oh, that would be excellent. It would be great to see, because it's always good to see when we have a intra-team battle, because it becomes very sort of difficult tactically, because the drivers have to think about winning the driver's title, but also making sure they don't screw over their teammate. And when does that crossover come in? So it's going to be interesting to watch. Spartan Keystone coming across the line. He looked like he went purple in Sector 2, so we'll see how that manifests as he approaches the checkered flag. Well, the checkered line.
Yeah, you've really got to try and carry as much speed through that final couple of corners there to really set you up on this long straight. It is rather long, and that's P5 for Spartan Keith. 1 minute 30.3. That's a decent lap time. As Muhiti goes even faster at 29.3 for the Ferrari driver. That's a great lap.
He is blowing everyone out the water right now. Wow, Muhiti with an incredible lap there. I think he'll be really happy with that. I'd be surprised if he beats that. He's currently 8/10 clear of the rest of the field, which is quite the achievement for the Turkish driver, who was a sort of championship contender last season, but wasn't quite on the raw pace of the top runners. But this season, that seems to be turning around.
Keep an eye on Mr. J, man. I think he's setting a decent lap time. I'm not sure. It's not going to affect thingy. Actually, I've just had a look at the top right. It's faster than his previous, but much slower than the pole time is at the moment. How about Selica and the Alfa Romeo? He's diving into the pit lane as the session starts to draw to a close. Well, about halfway through actually. But we will be seeing those final runs soon, as Swindu's taken a bit of a creative line through turns 11 and 12 as Pommy Alex is setting a lap. Perhaps Muhiti giving him a toe as he comes down in towards sector 3. Let's have a look at that sector time. He's way down on his previous lap, so this might be an extra warm-up lap for the Australian.
Yeah, I think so. It's difficult to find anyone on a lap at the moment, to be honest. I don't know if Sir Swindu's going to dive in the pits. No, he's going again, so Sir Swindu in the AlphaTauri. Here he goes for his next attempt. 30.8 was his previous go, and it was pretty good. I did see him make a mistake. G. Jacko was retired. He's gone into the wall in a very weird place. Perhaps he was trying to warm up the tyres and ended up in the wall, so he will not go any faster today, which could end up seeing him at the back, I think, with a time of a 36.1, because I'm sure everyone behind him is going to improve.
Yeah, I think Scott might have a good chance at getting close to pole position, if not on pole. I know he's definitely got some pace in him. He's a wily old fox, is Scott M89. Krauser as well has been a steady contender throughout his time in Tier 2, so keep an eye on him as this qualifying session comes into its closing stages. Who is next across the line? I think Tier's about to start a lap. I think Sir Swindu will be the next one. He's 4/10 up on his previous now. He's coming through turns 11 and 12 just now, coming up to that timing line, which is just in that little straight in between turns 12 and 13. He's purple to sector 2, so he's 5/10 up. This could be a decent improvement from the AlphaTauri, which could see him somewhere towards the top 5 of the grid as he comes into the final corner.
Yeah, this is much better from him. He nearly goes for a spin at the last corner, but manages to hold it. And across the line he comes. This is going to be really good. A 29.6 from the AlphaTauri. That's much better. And Pommy Alex just behind him with a 29.9 in the Ferrari. So we'll have to see how everyone else goes, where the improvements will come. I'd be surprised to see Muhiti improving, though.
Yeah, certainly so. As a QB breaks his way into the top 9, not the fastest of laps, but he has looked a lot quicker on this year's game, I must say. Tito Man starting a lap. Is that Scott? He's invalidated, so he's going to try and go again, it seems. or is he going to come into the pit, mate? He's got a lot of battery left, so yeah, into the pits comes the Aston Martin.
Man, nearly invalidating it. I don't know how he managed to keep that lap then. It looked like he went all the way over the line.
With a 129.7, sorry to cut you off, Ghost. He pushes Pommy Alex back down to P4 and joins the top 3. It's getting close toward the top, but Muhiti still has that 3/10 advantage as Tier now breaks into the top 10 with a 1 minute 30.9, and Cello Kurt's coming round to start his lap off. We'll keep an eye on the Alfa Romeo as he continues his run. Scott Rowley having a horrible session. I think his car's lagging a bit, maybe, because it's saying it's out on track. He's in the pits. So,
okay, interesting.
Strange occurrence there. His car is stuck, going from neutral to first at the exit of turn 4. It's ghosted, which is good, but it's a very strange issue.
Yeah, not sure about that one. He has left the lobby, so hopefully he can get back in. Fido Man's just about coming across the line to end his lap through the final corner. It's been a decent lap from the Alpine, which could get him into the top 4. It's a 29, a 30.0, just about out of the 29s. Is there time for him to go again? Not really, unless he goes again after this lap and goes for another one, but he'll have much more worn tyres, so we'll have to see how that shakes out.
Here we go, Mr. J-Man looks like he's putting in a competitive lap this time. He's made it round the final corner, so all he's got to do is drive in a straight line to cross the line. It looks like a fairly quick lap. He's going to put in P6, just on the fringes of the top 5 there, as Tier knocks him down into P7 with 1 minute 30.1. So Tier finding a footing, and he's beating his teammate for now, but Scott is out on circuit at the moment. His Krause is done. I think that's his qualifying over. He won't make it round again for another lap. How about Selleckert and the Alfa Romeo? No significant improvement, at least not one that puts him up a position. I also mentioned that didn't mention Lawrence is a new member of APPF1 Tier 2 as well, as he takes a big risk going over the curb on the exit of turn 7.
Yeah, he's one of the drivers that has been told to turn off his line for Tier 2 just to make the competition a bit fairer, along with Sir Swindu. So we'll have to see how he does. He hasn't had any practice to my knowledge. I did give him a few braking points just to make sure he could at least get out on track, but we'll see how he does. He's currently P10, about 7/10 from P9. Hopefully he can get a little bit closer and have a decent race today.
Yeah, certainly so. I think it's Selleckert who's going to be the first to cross the line in terms of these last runners. Muhiti was taking an extra lap to warm up those tyres. I've just been trying to cycle through the drivers, and it does look like that. Or is Tier on a lap as well? No, he's on an in-lap, so that's going to be his qualifying over. So it'll be the Alfa Romeo, Selleckert coming down the straight in towards the final couple of corners now, to round off this qualifying session with just 18 seconds left to go. Anybody on an outlap right now? Sir Swindu is going to be cutting it fine. Selleckert has called it a day, and he's invalidated Sir Swindu on his outlap. Is he going to make the line? It's going to be close. He just makes it with a couple seconds to spare, so we'll keep an eye on the AlphaTauri as his lap develops.
Well, Lawrence has invalidated his lap, but he is still driving just to see how fast he goes, and he was 5/10 faster through Sector 1, so there's a lot more pace in that Alpine without the racing line. So,
Spartan Keith just goes a little bit wide at the exit of turn 12 and invalidates his lap.
Oh dear.
That's that over. QP's 4/10 quicker at the minute. He won't see him improve too much, but we'll watch as he comes across toward the line. I think he might peel into the pit lane. Let's see. He's going to come and finish the lap. It's not going to be enough for the top 10, but it'll be not even an improvement as well. That's a shame for QB. I think that's Muhiti about to cross the line. He's
in the pit.
Not finishing that lap, so it's Scott next. He's in the pits as well. He's messed up that lap. I think this might be qualifying all said and done. Lawrence is on a lap, but it's of course invalidated, so it's not going to be much. And I think that's going to be on qualifying session. There's no significant improvements toward the end, as it seems the final laps were a little bit of a struggle for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Lawrence definitely could have improved by quite a lot, so we'll see how he goes in the race. Unfortunately invalidating that. He's still in P10. But it will be Muhiti on pole with a 29.3. It's a very decent time from the Ferrari. He'll be very happy to take pole position. Yeah, I'll let you run through the order, Sumo.
Well, then it's Muhiti then taking pole position by just about 0.3 of a second, followed by Sir Swindu and Krauser, who round off the top three. Pommy Alex lines up on the second row alongside Krauser, with Fido Man and Tyr taking up row 3. Mr. J Man and Scott take up the fourth row, with Spartan Keith and Lawrence D rounding off the top 10. QBV, Celica, Jacko and Scott Rowley round off the rest of the grid.
Yep, it was an absolutely brilliant lap from Muhiti, you've got to say, to take pole position, with Sir Swindu just alongside him on the front row, after saying that he has got no chance without the racing line and he's awful and he's so far off the pace, and here he is in the front row. So yes. Yeah, I think we've got a decent race in order. Muhiti has said in Discord that he's poor at starts, so we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, keep a close eye on this race start, because it's going to be fantastic, I think. No formation lap, remember. No formation lap.
Yes, no formation lap. And I reckon we might have time to get some of our season predictions done. So we'll start with the Drivers' Champion. I think you already said Muhiti.
I did.
For yours. You know what? I'm going to stick with the same team, but I want to go with Pommy Alex.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
No bias there, of course.
No bias. No bias.
I know. I think they are strong. Those two are quite strong.
They are, definitely.
I don't know, but I think Pommy does tend to make a few more mistakes than his teammate Muhiti. But I reckon it could be one of the Ferrari pairing. And I've actually put those in the wrong place on my notes. But I'm going to have to abandon this as we are going to the race start. With 4 or 5 red lights for the Bahrain Grand Prix. And away they go. I think that's a jump start maybe from Krauser. That was a very, very odd start to this race. But it's Sir Swindu and Muhiti are going to go wheel to wheel all the way down towards turn 1. And a few drivers as well. There's some damage. There's a contact with the Ferrari of Pommy Alex. There's a lot of carnage as the first couple of corners are navigated by the drivers. And Sir Swindu has spun and he's into the wall. That could be an early safety car. He's straight out of this race. Muhiti's got a 1.2 second lead, and it is. The safety car is out already, and that was quite the hectic start to this Grand Prix.
That's pretty much exactly where Mazepin went out last year in Bahrain. I'm sure he won't like the comparison there that I've made, but yeah, I couldn't help but think that's... how was Scott Rowley in P2, Sumo?
I have no idea. I did not see it.
What on earth has happened at this race start?
There was some strange things going on, because it looked like the Red Bull of Krauser jump-started, but the lobby just had a weird moment, and it's neutralised this race. It's a safety car after the first lap, just like we had in France during the pre-season. And yeah, we might see some of that in the stewards' room later this evening, but that was a very strange start to this race indeed. Pommy Alex will be happy. He took some major wing damage on that opening lap, and he'll be able to come in and get that repaired.
Yeah, please tell us, Ash, how did Scott Rowley get into P2? How was he there? Because he started, he started what, 13th? Hang on, position
something like
change.
that, yeah.
Position change. He started P14. He started last on the grid, and he is P2. I have no explanation for this.
He just roared right down the middle of the rows. Wow.
Okay.
Maybe it was to do with the glitch start.
I think it's to do with connection problems, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's got something to do with that. But Scott will not be complaining, and well, Pommy Alex in the pits. Crozer has just told me he had to leave, so I think that's his AI driving around. Hopefully he can make it back into the lobby for the safety car coming in.
Yes.
Yeah,
so.
very, very, very weird. Very weird start.
Well, it wouldn't be a Codemasters F1 game without a bug or two in a race. But this gives us... Oh, as his contact, as Scott Rowley goes very late and hits the back of Muhiti, giving himself wing damage. He's lost his front end plate there on that McLaren. And he'll have to make an unscheduled stop. And it seems he's had to let Fido Man through into P2.
Yeah, that's... well, his fantastic start is now ruined. He's going to have to come in and...
A lot of shenanigans going on, it seems. The game is being very weird.
It certainly is. We'll have to see. Let's see what happens for the rest of this first few laps, because it's been pretty weird to start off this race. That's for sure.
Yes.
I think we might have to review this afterwards, because I have a suspicion on why. I won't be going through it in the commentary box, but yeah, we'll have a talk about that.
Yeah, certainly. So, but while the safety car is out, it gives us ample time to continue our predictions, and we'll go with the Constructors' Championship.
Let me have another look at all the lineups. If Mercedes were here today, I would have said Mercedes, but neither of them have made it to this race, so that's immediately going to set them back. They still can come back.
Indeed.
I'm going to say Red Bull for the constructors.
Yeah. Red Bull. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Ferrari just for the more. I think these two are in decent form right now, and if they can have a good handle on these cars this year, they can have a good chance of getting that championship.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I think it will be between probably Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull, which is very, very like real life. But yeah, I do think if anyone's going to win the constructors' title, it would be one of those three teams.
Yeah, certainly. So we move on to most pole positions. Safety cars due in any minute now as the lights go off, and Muhiti becomes our effective safety car and will control the pace, having until the safety car peels into the pit to the line.
I will go for Muhiti again for that, for most poles, to be honest.
Yeah, he's certainly, he's already got one under his belt. Another 11 more shouldn't be too difficult for the man in that scarlet red Ferrari. Right, we'll get back to predictions when we get a moment, or at the end of the stream, but it looks like Muhiti's gone. He left it fairly late, and Tears going on the attack on Fido Man in the Alpine as well back there. They're going to go side by side into the first corner. It could be 3 wide if they were any closer to that Ferrari, but it's not, and Tears going to go all the way around the outside, the long way round, with the better exit into the next part of the corner. He gets there, and there's some carnage going on further back. At the moment, I couldn't quite see it, but Fido Man is going to go on the attack once again up towards turn 4. He has a little look on the Aston Martin, but he doesn't quite find a way through, and Tier has found himself in P2 after this restart. That's an incredible job from the Aston Martin.
G Jacko's gotten himself a
Oh,
penalty.
Tommy
from the
Alex
game.
and Scott going side by side into turn 5 as well. That was a great move from the Australian. That was really ballsy, and he's moved up into P7.
Scott has started on the hard, so he is going to get swallowed up in these early laps, but he should be better later on in the race. Those starting on softs, I don't know how it's going to go for those. Scott Rowley has taken advantage of the carnage. He nearly spins it though, and nearly goes into the side of Scott as well. But this move should be made from the McLaren driver on this straight. Here he goes down the inside.
Oh, and Lawrence has had a spin that turn.
Oh, no.
That's turn 11 down there in the Alpine. That's not great as he does a little 180 to turn the car back around onto the track. He's not going to be too far back, but he's dropped well out of the position he was in.
Yeah, certainly so. Yeah, there was a collision between G Jacko and Spartan Keith because Jacko got himself a penalty from the game, which usually indicates it was a pretty big hit. So we'll have to watch that back as well to see what happened. But wow, an absolutely chaotic first 5 laps to this Bahrain Grand Prix. Hopefully it calms down from here.
Watching a fight toward a little bit further back as Scott Rowley's trying to make a move on Scott as Scott locks up and almost goes into the back of QB. Very good job to get that stopped with the lock up there. His teammate is chasing down Muhiti for the lead, and that is Scott Rowley around. He's had a spin. No, that was QB, was it? It was McLaren spinning.
Scott Rowley is gone,
Rowley.
And Selokut is trying to overtake QB into turn 4. He hasn't quite made the move stick, but he did have a look down the inside. I think the Alfa Romeo driver will take the McLaren pretty soon, although Selokut has been very much off the pace that he showed in pre-season so far today.
Yeah, certainly so. Let's see if he can get past QB. There's a yellow flag. That's Scott Rowley again. More troubles for the McLaren. Not having the season that he would have wanted to start off this new game. We've got a 3-car fight for the lead of this race here. Muhiti followed by Tier, followed by Fido Man. And Krauser not too far back. He's only 2.1 seconds on those soft tyres. He's going to be going on a slightly different and more aggressive strategy, I think. He'll go for 2 stops while these guys will go for 1, and they'll go longer into this race than the Red Bull.
Tier nearly going into the back of Muhiti at the last corner. He managed to avoid him, but he could be vulnerable to Fido Man on this main straight. He lost a lot of time to the Ferrari, but I think Tier could be having a go for the lead now that DRS is re-enabled in the next few laps.
Keep it on Pommy Alex as well. He's on those soft tyres, so he'll be going for a free stop technically, but Pommy is close to the back of Mr. J-Man at the moment, and is looking fairly racy as the Australian. Fido Man very close to the back. He's really piling on the pressure for that Aston Martin, filling up his mirrors and trying to make a move stick at the moment. Speaking of move stick, Selokut and QB going side by side. He went very deep, Selokut, forcing QB to go super deep around the outside of him, and manages to defend the position for now. You could see the tyre marks as he locked up quite majorly in that corner.
Yeah, Selokut really just not on the pace that he was in pre-season, unfortunately. Lawrence is now trying to go down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, and he's made the move stick. Brilliant move from the Alpine. No line, remember, for him. He's not used to that, so that's a really great move from Lawrence. Into P9 he goes, and Selokut is just being left behind here, which is not what I expected at all after pre-season.
No, certainly so. Tier is all over the back of that Ferrari right now. He is really having a great race thus far. Q commentators curse perhaps.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, speaking of Tier, Fido Man has spun toward the back of the exit of turn 14, and that has left Tier open to go on the attack on the Muhiti, and they're going to go side by side into turn 1. It's the inside for the Aston Martin, leaving Muhiti on the outside, and gets a much better exit does Tier, and takes the lead of this race. And it's going to be followed by that Ferrari. He's going to have the DRS down towards turn 4. Perhaps, no, he doesn't, it seems more. Maybe he's not choosing to open it, but he's going to stay close to the back of that Aston Martin. Lawrence has made up another position, getting his way past QB. That was some very close stuff. Selokut on the attack once again, as he's got himself back onto this fight for P8.
Yeah, Pommy Alex got past Mr. J-Man on the straight as well. Just
Oh, side by side they go
turn
again, and then QB continues to hang it around the outside, but they're going to go wheel to wheel, are they? No, not quite through this S section. QB defending like a lion for that P9 at the moment, and doing an incredible job. He doesn't normally get to race all this much, QB, but I bet he's enjoying it.
Absolutely, it's great to see him racing up there with the other drivers instead of languishing at the back like he was last season. So it's great to see him racing and being on terms with Tier 2 on this new game. Tier is into the lead of this race. Muhiti trying to follow behind, but looks like the race pace for the Aston Martin is a lot better than his qualifying pace, and Muhiti unable to get back past for now. He did say in Discord, Muhiti, he was really nervous for this one, so maybe it's the nerves that are getting to him in the race and causing him to not be on the pace that he's capable of.
Yeah, certainly so. Nerves can affect your driving as well. You just feel on edge. You feel like you could spin at any moment. You've just got to be as calm and relaxed as possible and just enjoy the race rather than think about the championship, especially in these early stages of the season. But Muhiti's still doing a decent job thus far. He's staying with Tier. He's keeping him honest. Pommy Alex is still on the back of Crozer now. He's got past Mr. J-Man. We did miss that move. Sellekert's gone for a spin at turn 1, so that's going to be QB able to rest up for a little bit. But Pommy Alex on the attack, it seems. I think Crouzer's still out of the race at the moment.
I think so.
Yeah, he is, but he's still got some pace. And Pommy not able to get past at the minute. Mr. J-Man looking to try and catch up to the back of the Australian. I want to say, keep an eye on Scott, because he started on the hard tyres. Yeah. And he's going to go for a very aggressive end to this race. And especially if a safety car was to come out at the perfect time, he could be a threat.
Absolutely. He is not out of this race by any means. He may be in P7 as Pommy Alex gets past the AI of Crozer, who is dropping back, but that 70 AI Red Bull is going for the overtake again on Pommy Alex. So yeah, that AI is taking no prisoners. I think I need to turn the AI down next week because that should not be happening. Someone not in the race should not be running P4 comfortably.
So Ash says that the instant move for G Jacko happened in turn 1, lap 4. Hard to tell from the angles, but it looks like lock up into turn 1 sent them straight through.
Okay. I mean, that's probably what caused all the carnage. As Saloka, I think, might have had a spin because he's way behind where he was, and he's into the pits now. So Alfa Romeo not having a good time today, unfortunately. Down to P11 he will be, and I think he might come out just behind Spartan Keith. It will be close. As there's not really any battles apart from the top 2 on track.
Yeah, this is what we like to see. Muhiti is still staying with Tier at the moment. The strategies will start to come into play in a few laps' time, expectedly around turn 14, lap 14 or 15, rather. Yeah, Scott Rowley way down. He's not far off being lapped in a minute. And yeah, Sellekerk did have a spin a couple of laps ago on the exit of turn 1 as Lawrence made his way past Scott for P7. We just missed that move, but it looks like it was another one through turn 9 and 10.
Yeah, that Alpine's making waves after his spin earlier on. He's really recovering well, which is great to see. He's currently in P7 and racing very strongly as Tier. That's the fastest lap. Muhiti just unable to keep up at the moment. He's still just about within DRS range, but I think there's a setup difference between the two because Tier is definitely much faster on the straight than Muhiti is. So maybe less downforce on that Aston Martin.
Yeah, certainly so. He's definitely doing a good job. Scott Rowley's gone around for another spin and now has been lapped by the top 3 and now the top 4 as J-Man is now coming through as well. Is staying with Pommy Alex. He's doing a decent job to do so. QB getting past Krauser, whose AI has just come out of the pits. There's another battle going on a bit further back. Scott is staying with the Alpine. Oh no!
He's gone at turn 8, or is that turn 9? I'm not sure. but he's down to P3. Is he going to keep it from Mr. J-Man? Down the inside goes the Williams. He thinks better of it, and Tier nearly goes for another spin, saves the car. Well done, Tier. But Mr. J-Man going to have to DRS, and that's going to be the Williams up into P3. He's never had a podium in APPF1, Mr. J-Man. Here he is in the podium places.
Yeah, Mr. J-Man doing very good. He's been fairly quiet this race. He gained 1 position off the start, and has just been calmly sitting there, staying with Pommy Alex and doing just what he needs to do. Consistency really does pay off in motorsport, especially in Formula 1, and Mr. J-Man's doing it. He had an awful season last time out with us here at Tier 2, and is looking to make amends this season. But Tier having that spin. Oh, G Jacko crashing. That's a safety car, I think.
It is.
I'm not sure if it's a full safety car.
It is.
So,
the safety car's out.
That's going to ruin Scott's plans, I think.
Pommy Alex has come in for a fresh set of hard tyres. He'll be going to the end in the Ferrari. But it looked like he dived in just as he saw the crash. So good preemptive pit stop from Pommy Alex, who thought it would be.
There's been a bit of incident. I think J-Man slowed right down, and Tier's got a 5-second penalty. And they both stopped on track.
What on earth has happened here?
I think J-Man might have stopped to go behind the safety car and didn't realise that Muhiti had overtaken it. So it looked like that's what happened.
That could be what happened. Does Tier have damage? Oh, he does.
He does.
But he has to pit anyway.
He does indeed. We might see that in the steward's room later. That's an unfortunate incident. Some crossed wires there between the drivers. But he'll be happy that the safety car has come out, because it means that the effect of that spin will be lessened. But he will have to spend a little bit longer in the pits than he wanted to.
Yeah, I don't think any bad intentions.
It's Delta, Rick reckons.
Oh, it could be, yeah. But yeah, I don't think any bad intentions from J-Man there. But
no, not at all.
Tier caught out, and he'll have to come in for the damage to his wing, which yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Scott won't pit, I don't think, here. He'll stay on the hards, so he'll be up to P1 actually. He'll be leading this race possibly. Muhiti gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane though. And how crucial will that be as we get to the end of this race? There's still a long way to go, but with how tight the gap was between him and Tier earlier on, that could end up being crucial as Tier comes into the pits along with Mr. J-Man.
Close for the race lead. Scott's closing in. Muhiti's just across the pit line. I think it's Scott, yeah, just ahead. Yeah, there he is. Scott takes the lead of this race then. Those hards are going to be very cold after the safety car has gone around for a few laps, and with the age on the tyres as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott Rowley has gotten himself a drive-through and a 5-second penalty. It's not been the best day for the McLaren driver. Tier just about coming out the pits now with his new wing. Scott Rowley is retired in the pit lane. He has had enough today, and I don't blame him really. Tier in the Aston Martin,
catching him out there.
Yeah, just about. He's kept it on track. He's still just behind Mr. J-Man. Oh my goodness, Tier, be careful, man, please. He hasn't lost any positions other than to Mr. J-Man, but we expected that with his damage. So he is in P8, but he's really lost out here. All those top three that didn't pit have massively lost out by the safety car, especially Tier and J-Man because of their incident. So they have lost a ton of positions, and they are now running a net P6 and 7 because Scott is yet to pit.
Our first time in manual gears and medium traction practice obviously didn't pay off. Yeah, I've recently turned over to manual gears, Scott Rowley. It is a shock to the system at first, but I think once you get a decent amount of laps in, especially just around one track, I think that then it comes so naturally to you, and eventually you'll be not even thinking about the gear changes at all, really, when you're racing. So my best advice is to practice just at one track. You don't have to go to all the circuits, and just get a feel for how you should be downshifting and the way you should be upshifting.
Tell you who's the biggest winner from the safety car, Spartan Keith.
Yes.
He is now back in this race, although I think he took hard tyres. I'm just going to check Race Director. I think he took hard tyres in... Why has it... Please, Codemasters. Thank you. Let me see. View lap times. Yeah, he took the hard tyres earlier, so he's gone on to a fresh set of mediums. I wonder if he's going to try and go to the end on those mediums. Surely that's the only thing he's doing. If he's not pitting now, he's got to be thinking of getting to the end on those mediums, which will be very tricky, but not impossible.
Yeah, certainly. So, excuse me. So I think we might be getting racing very soon. We just got to wait for Spartan Keith and Celica to catch back up. We'll use the downtime to once again go back to our season predictions. I've still got my most poles to put in, and I think I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. I need to have another look at the drivers' lineup here. You know, I think I'm going to go with Jamie F1. I think once he's back and racing fully, he might have some decent pace, but I've not yet seen him in race trim at the moment, so it's hard to tell. But I think it's a solid driver to go for. Next is most podiums.
You know what? Maybe a bit out of left field. JBS Steve. I think he's got a lot of podiums in him. He had a lot of third places last season, and I think he can do the same again.
I'm going to go with Krauser. Krauser does like to find himself sneaking onto the podium every now and again, and if he can keep out of trouble, then he'll get it. I think he won't get a podium today, as I don't think he's even in the session still. So, yeah, no. Internet issues affecting the Red Bull driver. And the last one will be most laps led.
I'm gonna go with. I think his race pace isn't as good, but I'm still gonna go with Muhiti.
I'm not sure. It's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Jamie F1 for that one.
Okay.
He can get himself in there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard. I mean, I could have also put maybe Femi Frostmaster for most podiums, because he might find himself on there every now and again, especially after his podium at the end of last season, which he very much enjoyed, and we very much enjoyed seeing.
Yeah, that could definitely be a good call. I think I've yet to see his pace on this new game. He wasn't here in pre-season, but if he can carry through his improvement from last season, then he could be a good call there, as the safety car is in this lap, so we're just about ready to get racing again. But look at that penalty for Muhiti. That could come back to bite him.
Yeah, it certainly could. I think Krauser's AI is causing a few issues with safety car at the minute, as he gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. That's weird. Anyway, Scott is gone. Yeah, he has dropped the pace, and it seems Muhiti and Pomi Alex are going to stay with him. So it's once again 2 Ferraris chasing after an Aston Martin, and Scott on the back foot here as he's got slightly older tyres. Mr. J-Man's going on the attack on the Alpines, and he gets both of them, but goes so deep, and he's going to lose more than just the positions he would have gained in that move.
Oh, it's such a shame for Mr. J-Man. Completely missed his braking point. Easy mistake to make at turn 1, but yeah, that's a...
Oh, and there's Tier sneaking on the inside of Lawrence there, and he's trying to make a move. He's not quite done it, as he was a little bit too tight to the corner to make the exit work for him. And Lawrence is all over the back of his teammate and going round the outside of turn 8, but he doesn't quite get it. No, he does.
Yes.
Fido gets a poor exit from the corner, which is going to leave him vulnerable to Tier just behind him as well. And that's Lawrence up into P4, and he has adapted incredibly well to the lack of racing line for the driver, and it looks like he might even start hunting after the top 3.
Yeah, this is great stuff from Lawrence. Really good to see him adapting to that no racing line. He's been so fast to adapt, and he's back on the pace. Spartan Keith's trying to take advantage as well on those medium tyres. He needs to make up as much time as possible now, because he's going to be slower towards the end of the race. But he's got 3 cars ahead of him. Obviously, Crozer is AI. And Saloka could be getting into the mix as well, but he's on soft, so he will have to pit again.
Yeah, I think a little bit of a blunder there strategically. Yeah. And Scott may be leading this race because the pack's so bunched up. When he does come into pit, he's going to...
the Alpines!
Oh, they're going side by side again. Fido Man looking to get the better of his teammate at the moment. He compromises himself though, and T's out of the race. He's spotted into the barrier. No. He's crashed just where Grosjean did. I think Fido Man battling away with his teammate must have put Tier off. And there was a slight moment where Fido saved the car, and that distracted Tier enough to send him into the wall.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what happened there. I was riding on board with Tier. Funnily enough, Fido Man got on the curb at turn 3, and so he had a bit of a twitch on the car, and Tier didn't know where to go. He tried to swing the car right, but he swung the car too much and lost control, and that is his race over. Oh, I'm so gutted for him. He's driving so well today.
He's doing an incredible job in that Aston Martin. And it's a shame that he has crashed out of this first round, but if anything is to come from today, it's that he does have the pace to race when push comes to shove.
Yeah, absolutely. But, oh man, I'm gutted for him. This was his chance to get a really good start to the season and perhaps be in the title battle. Yeah, that is that dream over for him. And he'll have to come back stronger. There's still 11 rounds to go after this, of course. But yeah, he'll be gutted about that. Muhiti trying to catch up to Scott, who's trying to get in DRS range of the Aston Martin, who is driving really well to keep Muhiti at bay at the moment. But I think that gap is going to come down pretty soon, and the Ferrari is going to be on the warpath. But that 5-second penalty could end up really costing him today, because his teammate Pommy Alex is only 1.5 behind, and we're only around just over halfway through this race. So long way to go, but yeah, we'll have to see. And we've got Lawrence and Fido Man, the 2 Alpines, right in the mix as well. Spartan just behind them. So it's all kicking off here.
Hey RJ, it's nice to have you in the chat. Those of you who are watching at the moment, there are 11 of you. 6 of you have not liked the stream thus far, so please make sure you do tap that like button for me, as it really does help me out, and I really would appreciate it. All the support does go a long way. And speaking of support, please do go check out our sponsor, Positive Perception Media Design Products. They've been our sponsor with us here at Tier 2 for a long while now, and they do create some incredible liveries, not just in the virtual world, but in real life as well. So please do go over to their socials and head over to their YouTube channel as well, and give them all the support, and subscribe to their channel to see some racing content from those guys. Anyway, back to the race at hand. It looks like there's a fierce battle going on for P7 a bit further back, as Krauser leads the train, followed by Celica and J-Man. Spartan Keith making moves now on Fido Man down the inside of the first corner, and he's got the move done. Fido Man trying to find a way back through. Not quite, as all he's found is the rear of that Red Bull, and he might try and move in towards turn 4 perhaps, getting the DRS a second time. Doesn't look like it. I couldn't see the wing open toward the back, but it's going to be Spartan Keith up into P5, chasing after Lawrence, who's caught right up to the back of Pommy Alex, as I think Pommy might have had a mistake.
I don't think so. I think it's just been pure pace, to be honest. Spartan Keith, that was a fantastic move from the Red Bull. He's up to P5, but yeah, Lawrence right on the cusp of the podium places here, and potentially on the cusp of a win, thanks to that 5-second penalty from Muhiti, as Thiedemann gets back past Spartan Keith, who's had a spin. Oh no, he's spun at turn 10, and all his good work is undone. Down to P9 he goes, and it's a disaster for the newcomer to Tier 2. As I mean, he's still in decent points. That's still 12 points, but he'll be, sorry, 11 points now with the new point system, but he'll be gutted with that.
Yeah, certainly. So I have moved it a bit further away. I hope it's not too loud, RJ. I'll have to fiddle around with the input settings once the stream is over. I wasn't sure how well the new mic would go down. But,
oh, Mr. J-Man nearly goes for a spin. Sorry to interrupt you, Sumo. Half spin.
Oh, Lawrence on the attack of Pommy Alex. Pommy defends the inside. Lawrence is going to go all the way around. Pommy tells him to go that long way around and does not let that Alpine through. But he gets a much better exit now and switches over to the inside. They're going to go side by side down here, and I think Lawrence has got the measure of the Ferrari. He does. He gets the position before the corner, and that's Lawrence in the Alpine up to P3. But Pommy Alex isn't going to let that go yet. He's going to follow him all the way into turns 5, 6, 7, and 8 now. And Pommy Alex might go on the attack down towards turn 11. Muhiti's got closer to the back of Scott, who still is yet to pit. So Muhiti is leading this race technically, but Lawrence is going to be in the lead of the race if it was to finish now, due to that 5 seconds that Muhiti has.
This adaptation speed from Lawrence with no racing line, I mean, it's astounding. We've got to trust that he has actually turned it off, but I do trust him, and this is quite the performance from the Alpine after a spin earlier on. He's up to P3, which is at the moment a net P1.
Yeah, certainly so, but Pommy Alex has stayed with the Alpine, and it looks like he might go on the attack. He's gearing up. I realise I've not had my MFD on, or lap data, or telemetry on the whole race. So I do apologise for that. I might have turned it off by mistake at some point, but as Lawrence does set the fastest lap of the race, Pommy Alex is all over the back of him. He's got so much more battery, as Lawrence has got barely anything left in the tank. Pommy Alex had a look around the outside, tries the same move that Lawrence did on him. It's not quite going to work this time, maybe down towards turn 4, as these two go one by one through into the next part of the corner. Pommy Alex not quite yet, gets very close on the exit though of turn 4, and it's going to have to settle behind now for the minute. Mr. J-Man getting his way past Krause's AI at the minute, moves himself up into P6. He'll be looking to chase down Vito Man at the moment. The question is, when is Scott going to come in? How long can he go on those tyres? Is he trying to go onto softs?
I think that's what he's doing. I think he's going hard soft. Where's he going to come out? I'm just going to have a look at gaps to leader. He'll come out comfortably all the way down in P8. And he'll be way down on Spartan Keith. So yeah, he's I think probably P8 for Scott today, but yeah, he kind of got screwed over by the safety car, I think.
Yes, certainly so. Unless the safety car is to come out now, Selica has come out on hard tyres and realised that they are horrible when they're cold, spinning at the first corner.
Scott goes! Oh no! We need to stop talking about the Aston Martin drivers, Sumo.
We really do. Oh dear, that is such a shame for Scott. I think no, he didn't spin the same place as Tier, but that is a shame. That is the other Aston Martin still in the race, but not toward the front. And Muhiti has got a decent gap, 2.8. Lawrence has not been able to shake Pommy Alex, so that Ferrari's still in contention to take the win off his teammate after penalties have been involved. And Pommy has almost a full battery. Lawrence, 16%.
I think that might explain why Lawrence has not made any progress since overtaking Pommy Alex. I think he's just completely out of battery now, 17%, and he's going to be using it to defend from Pommy Alex now, who's nearly got a full battery, as you say. But Pommy does have to be careful not to save too much that he falls out of range, because that is something that is possible. I've done that before, tried to be too cautious with the ERS, then made a mistake and had no chance to get it back. So it's it can be a tricky one to try and balance what to do there. So we'll see how the Australian gets on. There's still 8 laps to go in this race as Spartan Keith gets past his teammate's AI.
Yeah, Spartan Keith trying to close in on Mr. J-Man. He's slowly catching up, but I think Mr. J-Man might just have the edge in terms of tyres. We'll head back to this battle for what will be the race lead. Muhitti's trying his best to break open that 5-second gap, but it's not going to go well. And with the laps continuing to count down, Muhitti is going to have that win taken away from him after a small mistake in the pit lane.
Oh, Pommy Alex with a small mistake, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. He's now out of DRS range and he's got to bring it back in over these next few corners, but Lawrence has been faster in this sector than the Ferrari these last few laps, so that could be the mistake that costs Pommy Alex the race win. We'll have to see. There's 7.5 laps to go, but Pommy needs to make that time back up again.
Yeah, he certainly does. He's just got to put the lap times in, make very few mistakes. He has to utilise the advantage of the battery as well. He knows that Lawrence has no battery left. You can see that blinking red light on the back, and here he comes. He uses that battery to make up that advantage again and get himself back into DRS. He's just got to make sure he plays the advantage in sectors, well, from the exit of turn 10 all the way to turn 1. As that's where you can get the power down around this track.
He's really not made it stick though. 1.1, is he going to have the DRS down the straight? He's using all his battery to try and get it. There's the detection point. He's just about got the DRS, but he's wasted around half of his battery to do it. Well, not wasted, but he's had to use it. Lawrence goes defensive but sets the fastest lap in the process, so clearly he hasn't slowed down, and Muhitti is starting to struggle towards these last few laps. Can Pommy Alex make this move? He's back within a second, but he's got to keep the pace up, and that is not how to do it. He's really losing out to Lawrence through turns 2 and 3. Yeah,
he's struggling on the traction zone. I think Scott's gone for another spin at the same place. That is a shame for the Aston Martin driver. He might be under threat from QB perhaps. If he carries on spinning as well, but Pommy really letting this slip through his fingers, and it looks like Lawrence might just get this unless there's a mistake from the Alpine. There's still plenty of time for drivers to make errors in this race.
Yeah, it was another mistake from the Australian, just too much understeer at turn 6, I think that is, turn 6, 7. Yeah, and had to slow down to avoid going off track, so Pommy, as you say, letting this slip through, but Lawrence just has enough pace to keep the Australian at bay, especially after Pommy's couple of errors that have cost him those vital few tenths.
Yeah, certainly so. Pommy is slipping away at the moment. Lawrence is slowly catching up to Muhitti, whose pace is dwindling in these late stages, and he's closing and closing and closing. And perhaps Muhitti might play a fact, as if he defends well enough from Lawrence in the Alpine, he might bring his teammate back into this race.
Might do indeed. But talking of which, Pommy Alex back within a second again, but again loses out turns 2 and 3, just doesn't have the traction that Lawrence does through that section of the track, and just not enough pace for the Ferrari through that section to take advantage. Fido Man's a long way back. He's comfortably P4, but not really in this battle between the top 3. Mr. J-Man running well in P5. Spartan Keith still doing decently in P6 after his couple of mistakes today, and he's right on the back of the Williams now. He could still get himself a top 5 finish here, as Scott as well P8, but it's really P7 because Crozer is going to be disqualified because he's been in AI the whole race. through no fault of his own. He told me why, but yeah, it's unfortunate for him because he could have had a good race today.
Yeah, he definitely could have. That is a huge shame for him. Lawrence has opened up that gap majorly. Pommy has dropped back to 1.7 seconds behind the Alpine. Spartan Keith is within DRS range of Mr. J-Man, so he's looking for a decent top 5 finish. Is the Red Bull on his first outing here at Tier 1. Muhiti now sets the fastest lap, 1 minute 32.8, so the Ferrari finding some pace again and opening it up. It's Lawrence is the meat in between the two Ferraris there, making up a nice Alpine Ferrari sandwich. And Pommy Alex needs to really try and dig deep and find something to get close to that Alpine.
Yeah, Muhiti really responding to Lawrence catching him, but 3 seconds he's going to make up in the next 4.5 laps. I can't see it happening, to be honest, as Scott now sets the fastest lap on the soft, so he'll take that extra point away from the top runners. But yeah, Pommy Alex has really dropped off now, 2 seconds behind Lawrence, so not able to hold behind the Alpine. And I think the Australian might well have to settle for P2, or it could even be P3 today if Muhiti keeps going the way he's going.
Yeah, certainly. Lawrence did have that spin a lot further back, but he's really made up for it. Those safety cars have helped him get into the position he is now. He's going to do an incredible job if he can get this race win today, especially since he's had to turn off racing line. He must have put in so much practice over the days leading up to this race, and it's really showing.
Meanwhile, Spartan Keith right behind the Williams of Mr. J-Man to take that final spot in the top 5. He's going to have to DRS down the straight. What's the ERS like? Mr. J-Man's got plenty in the tank, so this could be an ongoing battle here through these last 4 laps. As Spartan Keith opens the DRS but doesn't use any of the battery. He's waiting for an opportunity, and J-Man recognizes it and doesn't use any of his battery either. So a bit of a mental battle between these two, which is always fun to see in these races, because you can have some very interesting tactical mental battles with other drivers that don't involve on track sometimes.
Yeah, and we're reaching the point where those mediums will start to go a little bit sour for the Red Bull, so those hards will have a bit more to give in them, especially in those more grippy and traction heavy zones. But Spartan Keith has definitely got the pace to try and go on the attack here. He's close, he's putting the pressure on that Williams at the moment, and he's doing a good job. One mistake and that Red Bull will pounce given the chance.
Absolutely. I think the fact that Lawrence hasn't quite been able to catch up to Muhiti, it shows he's definitely running without the line, because trust me, if he was running with the line, he would be winning by about 6 seconds by now. So yeah, he's doing really well. What an adaptation from the Alpine driver. He's been absolutely fantastic today. Even after a spin, he's kept his head up, and 3 laps to go. He is looking like he can win this race as Scott goes for another spin in the Aston Martin, unfortunately.
So easy to do at the exit of turn 11 there. If you get it just a bit too wrong, you'll go around, and on turn 12 as well. You get on that curve, it will spit you back out quite violently. And Spartan Keith has dropped just outside of DRS range here. So the age of those mediums really starting to show. Pommy Alex has dropped even further back, and I think this race is firmly in the hands of Lawrence, unless a mistake creeps in.
Yeah, now it's all about the gap between Muhiti and Pommy Alex, so I'm going to switch my gaps to leader, because Pommy Alex is currently 4.5 behind Muhiti. Muhiti with that 5-second penalty. As Scott DNFs in the pit lane, okay. Is he going to be classified, I wonder? Well, we'll have to see. I can't quite work that out right now, but yeah, Spartan Keith still right behind Mr. J-Man. He's got the DRS back again, but not able to make the move for P5 quite yet. Yeah, that 5-second penalty.
All over the back though. He's found some pace in that Red Bull at the minute, and he's really close to the back of Mr. J-Man right now, really piling on the pressure. I think the move might be coming in towards the first corner as well. If he can get a good exit out of this corner here, let's see what Spartan Keith can do. It is a decent exit, and he's closing already before, so this is going to force J-Man to perhaps go defensive, try and break that toe if he can, and he's using that battery advantage that he's got to keep the Red Bull behind for now, and that attempt's thwarted by the Williams.
Yeah, that's great driving from Mr. J-Man, just using enough ERS to keep the Red Bull behind, but not too much as to waste it all. That's very difficult to do often, so that's smart driving from the Belgian, but Spartan Keith practically pushing him through turn 4 as they come into the next section of the track, as the Red Bull knows he's running out of time to make this move.
Tommy Alex even further back from Lawrence now, and Lawrence is closing in. Lawrence wants to get it on track if he can. We'll keep an eye on that gap as it goes, but the battle on track right now is Mr. J-Man and Spartan Keith. These two fighting it out on track, and Mr. J-Man really using a lot of battery, but Spartan Keith has used a lot in this attempt as well. So the mind games are truly over now. It's a sprint all the way to the end with just one lap and one sector to go in this Bahrain Grand Prix. Is it Mr. J-Man or Spartan Keith that will take that last spot in the top 5?
Yeah, Pommy Alex has now dropped 6.3 seconds behind Muhiti as Lawrence. That's the fastest lap, so he will get that extra point. He steals it from Scott. So that's critical for the Constructors' Championship, possibly. It's Ferrari versus Alpine today, which is not what I expected, to be honest. So well done to the Alpine drivers. They've been brilliant today. Spartan Keith not able to get in. He brakes very late and hits the back of Mr. J-Man, and he lets the Williams back through. He recognises that he did wrong there, and that's fair play for Spartan Keith to let him back through. So I think that will be P5 decided.
It's nice to see a little bit of self-stewarding there. We won't have to get... Oh no! Mr. J-Man spun!
Oh no!
Oh, he spun at the exit of turn 4, and that's cost him the position there. That's a mistake of his own. That is a huge shame for the Williams, and he's even losing out to the AI of Krauser now as well. Speaking of battles at the minute, Lawrence is close to the back of Muhiti now. He's within DRS range, but he's not going to have an attempt with the DRS now. They're both on 6% battery at the minute. So can Lawrence get past before the line? It won't matter either way. He is the leader of this race, and he will win on penalties. But if he can get it on track, he will definitely like to do that. Mr. J-Man is going to looks like he's going to get past Krauser's AI at the minute. That's a huge shame for him at the dying stages of this race. But it's going to be Muhiti who wins the race on track, but Lawrence will take the win and fastest lap as well in that Alpine. An incredible job for someone who's just turned off the racing line and to come in and win this race. Great stuff. Pommy Alex will sit on the podium with Tito Man finishing P4, so the battle between Alpine and Ferrari begins at the end of this race with Mr. J-Man finishing P5. I think Spartan Keith might have slowed down to let him back through. That's a very nice gesture from the Red Bull. And Krauser finishing P7 as well. So 6 and 7 for Red Bull. That's a decent pool of points for them. That'll put them in P3. QB is just rounding turns 11 and 12 now. He will come home in the top 10 in P8. Mr. Consistency, rarely ever does he not finish a race, does QBV, and he is going to finish in the top 8 to set that one home nicely for him. Russello will follow him behind just a few more seconds down the road. Just before, quick explanation, I did mention the new point system. It's not that new, but before in APPF1 we used to have first place gets 20, second place gets 19, and then same all the way down. But now we've got first place gets 23, second place gets 20, and third place gets 18, and then we go 16, 15, 14 all the way down. So if you get on the podium, you get an extra little bonus of points. So the 3 on the podium
taking that bonus, and I think, let me quickly work out the constructors in my head. Lawrence takes the win with fastest lap, so an extra point. So 23 plus 16 for Fido, plus an extra 1, so that'll be 40 points to them. And Ferrari have 20 plus 18, so it's 2 points between them, but Alpine will be on top of the constructors after today.
Yeah, Alpine then taking the top step of the podium today, surrounded by the 2 familiar red suits of the Ferraris, as Lawrence takes his first win here in APPF1 Tier 2. And what a great show it was, and I think he'll get my commentary driver of the day as well. As he did a great job to come into this race on a slight disadvantage and still come out on top. I think if Muhiti hadn't got that penalty, it would have been a very different podium celebration, or slightly different at least. But Lawrence will take the top step of the podium, flanked by Muhiti and Pommy Alex of the Ferrari duo. Fido Man will take P4, and Mr. J-Man rounds off the top 5. Spartan Keith and Krauser finished P6 and 7 for Red Bull, with QB finishing P8 in his McLaren. Silica rounds off the last of the finishers in P9, with Scott he does classify, as Rick has said, so he will score points for that reserve championship, with Tier, Scott Rowley, G. Jacko and Sir Swindu not able to finish the race.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's it. We had a chaotic start to the race. I think we might get a few reports about it, and we'll have to have a look about it in League Managers as well. But the rest of the race, very clean, very fair, and I think great stuff from all 8 drivers that finished. It's a huge shame that Krauser couldn't race today, but hopefully he'll be back strong next week. And because we've got a 12 race season and the new point system, a DNF early on doesn't mean that it's all over.
Yeah, certainly. So there's plenty of opportunities for drivers to make up those deficits, especially with the little extra boosts for finishing on the podium right now. But an incredible job from all of our drivers today. Congratulations to Lawrence for taking the win here, and our podium sitters as well, and everybody for taking part, as it's always about the fun we have here rather than the points and the competition. I mean, those are bonuses, I suppose, but if you're not having fun, then we're not doing our job as as managers of the league, I suppose. But anyway, great commentary again. Thank you, good guy Az. I'm glad you've all enjoyed. Please do make sure you've left a like on the stream if you haven't done so already, and subscribe if you haven't done so. I'm just 2 subscribers away
to 100
from making that 100. Please get me there. I've had to reach out to another league to try and get those extra numbers up as well. So check that out on Saturdays when I can make it. I think it won't be streaming this week. I'll have to make sure I let them know myself, rather than not just responding. But anyways, anything else to add, Ghost?
Well, it's a great start to the season, despite the very weird start. But we can't have a new Codemasters game without a few weird moments. So hopefully we can get that sorted. Hopefully no one is too aggrieved by that. Yeah, a good start to the season. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it in the cockpits, and I'm looking forward to next week in Miami.
Yes, we go to Miami, and an interesting track it is. It may seem like the racing is difficult there, but it's actually quite fruitful, and hopefully we get a few more drivers on the grid, and perhaps the Mercedes duo will show up next week for their first race in this new season. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up now. I'm going to go grab myself a cup of tea and chill out for the rest of the evening. I hope you guys have thoroughly enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys have an incredible night and rest of week. I'll probably see you guys next on Sunday for the Sprint Championship. Maybe Friday. I haven't figured out what I'm doing yet. But anyway, that's going to be enough. I have been Sumo.
And I have been Ghost.
And we will see you next week for some more Tier 2 action as we go to Miami. See you soon.
See ya.